Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're really glad you're here. My name is Charlie Bryan, and I'm a member of the training and development team here at Adswerve, and I'll be your friendly neighborhood moderator for today's webinar, which is all about a look at Avid's success with scaling digital measurement and marketing. So we're going to look at a case study that we worked with them on, show you a little bit of behind the scenes work that went on there and some of the really exciting results that we had. Before we get into our agenda and the meat of our content today, I do want to introduce you to Adswerve. I know a lot of you are returners to our webinars, so you already know who we are, and thank you for coming back. But for anyone who's new, I want to let you know who we are. We're presenting this webinar, we're sharing our success, so who are we, and what right do we have to be doing that? Well, we are Adswerve, and we're your trusted data, media, and technology consultancy. We are the #1 Google marketing partner. We're very proud of that, and we're the top Google Cloud partner for marketing and analytics. And we're the Adobe Emerging Solution Partner for the year for 2 years running. We just got that new accolade for the second year, so we're pretty excited about that one. We have more than 250 industry-leading experts on our team, and we're trusted by many, many agencies and brands. You can see some numbers there on your screen. And we help them get the most from their Google and Adobe platforms and the rest of their marketing tech stacks. Actually, we're not just Google and Adobe. And that 800 number isn't clients in name only. We spend a lot of time, about 80,000 hours, working on clients' analytics projects in a year. And that's about 300 hours every day. So you can imagine that we have seen it all. And we've helped folks find solutions for a lot of their challenges. So we'd love to work with you in the future. We'll give another plug for that in a little while, but that's just a little bit about who Adswerve is. So enough of that. Let me talk about our presenters now. I'm joined by two genius colleagues. We have Sierra Dameron, and she's a senior analytics consultant at Adswerve who addresses technical implementations, measurement strategies, and marketing tech stack integrations. And we also have Zach Mitchell, who's a data scientist here at Adswerve, and he specializes in predictive modeling and analytics. And they have lots of great stuff to share, so I'm going to hand it over, save as much time as possible for them. So Sierra, why don't you lay the groundwork for the challenges and objectives for this particular project?
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Sierra. I am a senior consultant here at Adswerve, and I am so excited to be sharing the story of a partnership that we've had over the last couple of years. This is a partnership that's not just been about data or technology, it's been about people, understanding their challenges, working together, and building solutions that drive meaningful change for their business. And so today I'll be walking us through the journey that we took with Avid to reduce their subscription churn, to scale their digital maturity, and to ultimately drive more value for their customers. And so when Avid and Adswerve first partnered, Avid came to us already understanding their business model. They just weren't quite sure how to get to where they wanted to be by the end of that year. The writing was on the wall. Subscription churn was a major obstacle for them, and their marketing and analytics teams and leadership teams all knew that reducing subscription churn at that time was going to be critical for the sustainability of their business. And so as we met and we were working together to plan out that next year, we knew that it was going to be essential for us to reduce subscription churn in a significant way in order for us to accomplish all that we wanted to do that year. And so that's when the magic started to happen. We had two highly sophisticated teams who were ready and willing to tackle a complex challenge. And we knew that that work was not going to be easy, but again, we were committed to doing that hard work. And so by the end of this, the question was no longer, can we do it? It was, how fast can we make it happen? And so we can go to the next slide. We got to work and we developed a two-pronged strategy, one that would allow us to tackle this issue head on. The first part of it was pretty straightforward, but it was critical. We needed to define a new GA4 data model for their new replatform site. You see, at this time, Avid was in a place where they were moving from their legacy site to a new site, and our teams knew it was the perfect opportunity to introduce a new reliable GA4 data model, given that their legacy implementation was a little less than reliable. And so our goal was to ensure that we were capturing not just the right data, but all of the data that would give us the full view into those user behaviors. And that included behaviors like web actions, product usage, consistent user identities, and so much more. The second part of that plan was then to take that data and turn it into actionable insights. With the right data in hand, we would be able to build out a churn prediction model that would predict with higher accuracy than we'd ever seen before which users were likely to cancel their subscription. And with that insight, the Avid team would then be able to focus their energy and effort on keeping those high value customers, optimizing their efforts, and ensuring that every dollar that they spent was going to use. And so in other words, our plan was to give the Avid team a tool that they could use, identify those high value customers, and spend that money to make sure that those customers were not leaving at the rate, especially that they were leaving at that time. So we got to work, but here was the thing. We started digging into that data and we made a very key discovery early on. And that discovery was that Avid did not lack data at all. In fact, they had more data than we even knew what to do with. And we wanted to have an idea of how those data systems connected. I mean, sure, at that time, their GA4 implementation needed work, but whose didn't? And what really stood out to us was that there was valuable data points across several different systems. And that is when we made the decision to bring in our data engineering and cloud team, because we wanted them to be able to take a look across all these different data points and give us the full picture. Are we collecting already enough data to start working on this churn prediction model? And so after we mapped out the data, analyzed it, and that project was completed, we realized that we did, in fact, have enough data to get started. And so while the engineering team was diligently at work building out that model, our analytics team was also hard at work building out that GA4 data model. We were now unlocked to be able to complete this work in parallel, which was a game changer. We built out that new data model. We ensured to apply all best practices for privacy and consent because, as you know, it's an ever-changing world as far as privacy and consent goes. And we wanted to future-proof this solution to be ready for any of those uncertainties. And so as the year went on, that solution started to take shape. Systems were in place, data was flowing, and most importantly, those insights were actionable. We took all of that new data from the GA4 data model, plugged it into the new churn prediction model, and we were able to increase that accuracy even more. And so by the end of that year-long journey, not only had we accomplished everything as far as the churn subscription model was in relation to that, but we had accomplished so much more. We had built a robust churn prediction model that had reliable data feeding into it, and Avid saw the results in their bottom line. So much so that they reported to us that as a direct result of the work that we did during this project, they saw their most profitable quarter in 6 years. And that is not just success, that's transformation. And that's the transformation that comes from partnership. That's the kind of transformation that comes when two teams put their heads together, focus on what's possible, and work towards a common goal. And so now I'm going to pass it off to Zach, and Zach is going to walk you through sort of the behind the scenes and showing you those models. But before I do that, I want to leave you with this, is the key takeaway for me of this project and for you all to keep in mind as we go through this is, of course, the technology is critical in this, but what was even more critical was the people. It was finding the right people and seeing what unfolds when you have those people in the right roles with the right mindset and they're united to solve these challenges. And so that's where the real transformation takes place. Thank you all for your time. And Zach, I'll hand it off to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Sierra. Alrighty, so yeah, we're going to start off talking about churn propensity modeling. And actually, we've built several propensity models for Avid. This just happens to be the first one that we built. We have this ML Ops framework that we built in-house here. It's called ANDI, which stands for Analytics Delivered to You. And that really allows us to build up these churn propensity models, any propensity model, like several different ML models quite quickly. So short plug on that. That's how we built this with our ML Ops tool. But yeah, really the problem that we came into with Avid, my first meeting with them was, how can we figure out who is going to leave us, right? It's a very common business problem. They say that the best customer is the one you already have. So they wanted to figure out how can we identify subscriptions which are most likely to churn. So the leadership can build different strategies on how to keep them. So before this initiative, before I came in, they had what I would define as a single factor model. They just had like one thing that they looked at to see like, is this on or is this off? And they basically, said, if it's on, we're gonna say that that person's highly likely to churn. That is a pretty predictive feature. We did include that in our machine learning model, but actually it's like the fourth or fifth most relevant feature to determining whether someone's gonna churn. So what we did is we basically took data that you could measure the context of where they are in their subscription, as well as some in-app analytics, and we put that all into BigQuery, and we created an automated churn scoring system for every subscription every week. And the outcomes, it's been quite successful at identifying churn likelihood. With over 58 million predictions so far, we have less than 4% mean absolute error. And now leadership has a reliable tool that they can use to build targeted strategies around churn. And so let me jump into kind of the results of what that looked like. So what we're doing is we are basically giving each subscription a churn score from 0 to 100. And you could think that's the likelihood, percentage likelihood that they are to churn in the next month. So what I did is I took everybody over time, each subscription's churn score, and I actually looked at what's the percentage of those that actually churned in the next month. We get the difference, and what we see here is we're off by about a little less than 4%. So here it is charted. If this was perfect would be nice, right? If this was perfect at predicting who is going to leave in the next month, this would be a straight line, but we can see, quite a trend here. So there is a relationship. We're very happy with where it is right now, and I think Avid is as well. So, and since we're talking about churn, I want to show you this too. None of these things that I'm showing you today are Avid's real numbers, right? This is just a presentation showing you like what the tools look like visually. But this is a tool that I built them where they can really see how they're doing with churn today compared to times in the past. So here on the x-axis, the bottom here, I have months over time, and then on the y-axis we have retention. So you can see like, right at the start here, we're keeping everybody, and then over time we start to lose people. And I also have different snapshots in time, so we can see how we're doing with churn today versus in the past, and we can break it down by product too. And this has been a really cool tool to just have some context that, like, are the decisions that we're making to combat churn, is it working? Now we know, we have this to tell us. So that's my bit on churn. And if you ever have any questions, please drop them in the chat. The moderator will stop me, and we'll address them. After churn, we wanted to forecast some things. So does anybody here wish they could predict the future? Right? I know I do. When I looked at my portfolio this morning, I know it wishes I could too. But yeah, what we're trying to do is we are just trying to figure out what are sales going to be like next week, next quarter, next month, what have you. And this isn't an uncommon problem, right? I'm sure you would like to know that too. So we built a forecasting tool to predict future subscriptions for each product line. Now, when we came into this, they actually did have something already. It was a hand-built Excel model that someone in leadership was building. It actually, I think he said that it took him about 10 hours per month to update it, and most of those hours were usually coming on the weekend for him. So it was quite tedious, effective, but it was just taking a lot of time from important people on the team, and we wanted to see if we could automate this system and improve on the accuracy. So what we did is we built, on top of what they already had, we integrated BigQuery's machine learning ARIMA Plus model on top of it. And so now we have accurate, automated, and rolling forecasts 12 months into the future. And we're also saving a ton of time for these leadership members on the team. And since we've put this out, now we have people on leadership as well as the finance team using these forecasts in their decision making. And something else I always say is this also provides you could think like a measuring stick where you can say like, okay, based on how we've been doing over the past few months, this is what we think we're going to do this month. And now we can say like, did we hit that number? Did we sell X amount of units or did we exceed it? Now we actually have like an objective way to compare that or to measure ourselves.
Zach, I do have a question in the chat for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a confusion matrix for your churn model, or did you use something other than Bayesian probability?
There are many different versions of what we used, and we used different versions for different products. I would say less Bayesian confusion matrix, yeah, for most of them. Yeah, that's what I'll say for now. I could dig a little deeper, but I don't want to get too into the specifics on how the model's built, that one specifically. I don't want to give anything away on that. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, so let's talk about ARIMA modeling real fast here. So BQML, it has something called ARIMA Plus, and let me just quickly walk through what that is. It's an acronym. AR stands for autoregressive, and that's basically the model using past values to predict current and future values. I is for integrated. What this does is it basically keeps the statistical properties roughly the same over time. And then we have moving average. This one probably everyone's familiar with. It's just like the average of the past few values that have been there. But this is in regards to past errors. So like say, if our past predictions were off by a certain percent, let's correct for that. And then the plus is for everything else. So you can, add other features like sessions into this. You can add, what's our conversion rate. BigQuery ML allows you to, you could put anything. What's the stock market doing? What's the weather like? Just you choose. So pretty cool. But what we did is we built them two models. We built a model for total subscribers as well as a model for new subscribers. Again, we built this for each product line. And then from that, we were able to determine churn using this simple algebra here. So you can imagine that, let's say this is our total subscribers today. And this week we're going to get some new subscribers and we're going to lose some subscribers, and then we'll have our total for next week. And so we just do some simple math here, and we put churn out here to be out on its own. And so that's how we were predicting churn. And the real benefit of this, instead of creating a third churn model, is that everything connects together when we do it this way. So you can build things like this here. This again, these are not Avid's numbers. These are fake numbers, but this is just to show you the tool that we built. Now, with this, everything that I built in ARIMA here, we have the past 3 years for context. So this is like historical data, and then the future 12 months of predictions here. And we have a by product line as well as a forecast revenue. And so this is straight out of the box. This is exactly what the ARIMA model is giving us. But the cool thing that leadership, finance can do is they can go in and they can change a few things. So, are we going to raise prices over time? You can go in here and change this. This is going to reflect immediately here in your forecast. And they also asked us to build on top of these ARIMA models another model to see the relationship between a few different levers. So those being sessions, conversions, and churn. We wanted to determine the relationship of, if we were to improve on these, how is that going to affect our projections? So as an example here, let's say, what if our sessions increased by 99%, right? What does that do to our forecast? So let's pop over and take a look. Oh, wow, who'd have thought? It's really improving things. And what if on top of that, we also got rid of churn, basically, right? We just, no churn, even better. Who would have thought? If we double our sessions and get rid of churn, very helpful. That's the secret, everyone. Just do those two things. So cool tool. I think they've been very happy with it. Again, I know that members in leadership, as well as the finance team, are using this to project out 3 quarters. And this is something that we can make for you too, if you're interested. Alrighty. After that, we have our custom CDP that we built for them. So we call this User 360. That's just like the internal term. And, you know, again, I think Sierra touched on this briefly. Coming into our relationship, Avid didn't have trouble collecting data. They had plenty of data. The problem was is it's in a lot of different spots. It's siloed out everywhere. They had considered using, you know, some sort of CDP like segment, imparticle, I don't know which one in particular. But when you look at the prices that they were asking for, like what they were giving, it just, you know, sometimes it just seems a little ridiculous, those prices just for these systems. So we got together and we said, you know, we can build this in BigQuery, right? We can import all this data. We can build these tables, and you can have your own custom, much lower cost CDP. You know, like we're saving them millions of dollars by doing this instead of using one of these brand names. So that was the use case. That's the reason we chose to do this. And you know, the big win from this, unfortunately, I don't have any visuals of what the CDP looks like. It's a BigQuery table. But really the big win out of this is that they're getting the right messaging to the right people at the right time. And so what we're seeing, we put this into production, I think August or September last year. So the first full quarter it went into production was Q4. And what we did is we saw the most efficient Q4 spend ever on their marketing, highest ROAS as well. So pretty cool. I'm excited where that one's going. I feel like it's actually like one of the coolest things that I've built in my career. So that is on the menu as well, if you're interested. And then finally, we have the mixed media model, MMM for short. And when I explain what an MMM is, I like to use a pizza analogy. Despite it being cheesy, I think it works. Think of each topping as like a different media channel. So here we have Google Ads as the pepperoni, we have Facebook as spinach, and we have TV as the olives. Yeah, and so these toppings, again, they represent every different media channel. And you know, the toppings, they're going to work for Avid. Here we have like a really balanced pie with everything, you know, spread out equally. That may work for Avid, but for you, maybe it's more of a meat lover's pizza, right? Maybe we get rid of some of these things. And so that's what MMM is trying to figure out. It's about finding that perfect combination of toppings or media channel for you, given your budget, given you know, what quarter it is. So like maybe your budget should be different Q1 than it is Q4, right? That holiday season, you might have a different approach. So these are the sort of questions that an MMM would help you answer. And let's see here. Anything else I want to touch on here? Yeah, so coming into this, basically they provide us with a bunch of data of what they've been doing over time. And so they're trying several different channels. And that was great for training data. It allowed us, you know, they had, I think, 5 or 6 years of backlog of what they have done. And it really allowed us to see which channels are providing the most amount of lift, additional lift on top of basic demand. So outcomes are, now we have an understanding quarter by quarter for any budget you can imagine. Like, you know, your budget could increase 100%, or you could cut it in half. We'd be able to provide, you know, a good budget, and we are increasing ROAS because of that. And so I want to show you what that tool looks like now. And again, none of the data in here is Avid's data. This is all just for exploration purposes. And so this is an interface that we built here at Adswerve. This is our in-house MMM. Now, I also want to quickly say that we are working with Google's Meridian MMM, which we are integrating into this to this visualization here. So you can do these same things with Google's Meridian MMM ask us if you're interested. But you can do things like this. So you can really understand for each channel, what are your diminishing returns over time. So here we have this channel called low funnel. And basically we have our current amount of spend, this green line, and we're getting a ROAS of 2.16 return on ad spend. And we could go in here and we could, play with these ideas of like, what if we increase spend by $1,000? What's that going to do to our ROAS? And then we can see our marginal ROAS, incremental ROAS has increased. And actually, for this channel specifically, it thinks, you can see here, that our ROAS is going to continue to increase until we hit a saturation point where, you could continue to spend money and not see any return on that. And, the example I give for this is, like, say you get in your car where you live and you're looking at a billboard for your advertiser, and you drive 15 minutes and you see that same billboard somewhere else. Are you going to buy twice as many of the product now that you've seen that billboard twice, right? And so that's kind of the idea behind of this here, the saturation point. So that's just one little piece to this. You can also see things like, when I spend the money, how many days is it until I see a lift in revenue from that money spent? We also have things like attribution. So we can take a look at each channel and see how much that is contributing to our sales. We can also break it down to seasonality, like a weekly, monthly seasonality, or even quarterly. And then everyone's favorite here is the budget optimization. So we can go in here and we can say, like, over a specific quarter or month, you basically like choose the date range that you're looking at, and you can set a budget. So again, this is where I was talking about earlier, like, maybe 2025, we're going to have to lower our marketing budget. And so you can go in here and you can set, a lower price or increase it, whatever. And then you can tell it to optimize, and what it will do is it will provide you an optimized amount of spend across the channels, as well as give you some predictions on what that optimized spend would yield if you were to implement it. So really cool tool. And again, you can use this with the Google MMM Meridian very soon. So that's a Bayesian model. We also have this integrated with our in-house ridge regression model that we are building here. So.
And Zach, I have another audience question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
You mentioned 6 years of data for Avid, but is there an estimate or a good rule of thumb for how much historical data would be needed to output a good MMM for training?
Amazing question. Yes. So I've actually had to personally deal with that a few times. I would say at the bare minimum, you need 2. The model can't really determine seasonality unless we have like a couple years worth of data to see those trends, those yearly trends happen more than once, right? So 2 bare minimum, 3 would be great. More than 3, we're feeling good at that point. So that's what I would say.
Nice. And that sparked another question from another audience member. How does this MMM tool compare to Adobe's mixed modeler product?
Oh, good question. So I will tell you, personally, I haven't worked with Adobe's model. I have worked with several of Google's models. I worked with Meta's model, Facebook, and our in-house ridge regression. So I guess it's not a conversation I can ask. Are they using Bayesian or something else for that? I don't know. I can't tell you specifically for Adobe. Meridians uses Bayesian, ours uses ridge regression. That's like the underlying statistical ideas under it. I could follow up after and email you about that. I think that's a better way to approach that.
Yeah, Rahul will follow up afterwards.
Cool.
Great.
And then, yeah, that's all I have to show you for today as far as like the highlights. This isn't all we've built for Avid over the past year, but some of the things that we like to share. So as far as what that has done for their business, Q4 of last year, they delivered their highest direct-to-consumer quarter in history. So pretty cool. Again, I think that has a lot to do with many of these things that we've been building. high double-digit year-over-year growth in their Premier Hero product. I want to get into specifically what it is, just because I don't know if I'm allowed to share that. So high double-digit year-over-year growth. Those really, really good. We saw 6.2 times higher marketing efficiency year over year for Q4, and 18.9 times increase in marketing efficiency over Q4 2022. So enormous increase in ROAS because of that. And then finally, Avid grew their business in an industry that actually shrunk last quarter. So can your company say that it's done that? I think that that's a big deal, personally. So those are just a short list of results, and we're still building. Nowadays, we are focused on LTV, so lifetime value of current customers, as well as predicted lifetime value. And with those models, basically giving the tools for management to strategize around that. The more valuable customers, should we be doing different things with them? And we've also been working with the UX team, so we can basically, improve the products, figure out what's important, what should be improved, and what's going to increase revenue and usage among the users. And then, of course, this is marketing. We're always interested in improving our targeting with our messaging. So again, just getting that right message in front of the right people at the right time. That's always the goal. So, yep, it's been an exciting relationship, and it continues to bear plenty of fruit. We're ready for more. If any of this sounds interesting, please let us know. And yeah, let me know if you have any more questions for Sierra or I. And if I don't know it now, which might happen, I will follow up later.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, one just came in. Okay, have you done any work with NLP analysis of ad creative copy performance?
We sure have, yeah, for a few of our clients, actually. So we've used LLMs to create ad copy. We've also used NLP for a few different things. So that's not foreign to us.
Nice. And Zach, you mentioned that you're continuing to grow and improve on some of these models that you've built. How do you measure the ongoing success and refinement of those models?
Another great question. So actually, with our Andy MLOps tool, one of the cool features of it is, we're retraining new models over time. We retrain models, at whatever cadence you want. So let's say we have weekly models, and what it will do, depending on the metric that you want to optimize for, so it could be an F1 score, or it could be whatever. Basically, it'll keep the best models that live up to the metric that you want it to maximize. So that's what we do. We basically just keep our best models over time, and we use those as it improves.
And Sierra, early on, you talked about their GA4 stack and working with that data. From an analytics standpoint, what key challenges did you see in Avid's initial data environment, and how did you overcome those?
Good question. What we saw with Avid was not different from what we saw with a lot of clients at that time. And still today, we do see and work with clients who are in a similar position, which was we had universal analytics for a very long time, and we had time to build out the best solutions to make universal analytics work for each of our businesses individually. And that cutover was a transition that I wouldn't describe as difficult, but it was complicated and nuanced. And one of the things that we provided for Avid and that we continue to provide for many of our clients is helping to navigate those nuances for your specific use case. So we take it from just going into Google's documentation, which has more of a blanket approach, and really going in, auditing your systems and finding out what works best for you. So that legacy implementation we were working with was largely in part, it had a lot of relics from the universal analytics system. And what we see when it comes to scalability in GA4 is that it's essential to fully adopt that event-based model in order to have success with any sort of product connections down the funnel. And so a lot of our work at that time was focused on kind of bringing in their data model to the new age, the 2.0 GA4 event-based model. And yeah, making sure that we connected that system so that it was compatible with the churn models that Zach was building out.
And here's one for both of you. Why is that unified view of the customer so critical for driving those better marketing decisions?
I can start, and maybe Zach, you'll have a more sophisticated answer. But that unified view, again, I think it points back to scalability, and also it's getting that worth out of your dollar. We have all of these different pieces of technology, which are great, and they can make our lives a lot easier. They can also be very costly and somewhat useless if we don't know how to make actions on that data that's being collected. And so one way that a unified view helps with that is that when we do start to pour all of those data points into a single system, like we did with BQ in Avid's instance, there's way less manipulation and data transformation that needs to happen at that point because it's all connected as it goes in. And then Zach, anything if you wanted to add?
I think that's really good. And yeah, I mean, how I think of it is, we all have 8 hours in a workday, right? Some of us more. But you can only do so many things. And so having a unified view, you basically get everything into one spot, and we can say together, we can all look at this together and say, like, what's important? What should we be focusing our time on? And without doing that, you're not gonna know what's important. Something that's important for you, it might be different for me, and then we're not as cohesive, we're not as unified as a team. So I think that's the real win there.
So true, so true. Especially for the 15% of you who acknowledge that you're bleeding clients. We get it, and we can help you fix that. If you're looking for some assistance, reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you turn it around, like we did with Avid. They've done some, Zach and Sierra have done some really great work, as you can see by these results. So big kudos to you too. So that does bring us to the end of today's webinar. Again, I'd like to thank our presenters, Zach and Sierra, for sharing their insight and their expertise and all the wonderful work that they've done creating new things that help clients. And I'd like to thank all of you for attending. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.